Outside of working hours, we never saw each other.
Really?
No.
What if Pink Floyd didn't break apart because of money, fame, or creative differences, but because one man secretly couldn't stand what the other represented?
Increasingly clear as the years went by, we didn't have all that much in common, but we did work well together.
For decades, fans believed they understood the bitter war between Roger Waters and David Gilmour. But a deeply personal confession may have changed everything. Behind some of the greatest music ever made was a relationship quietly collapsing under jealousy, resentment, and emotional wounds that never healed. And when you hear what Waters finally admitted, you may never look at Pink Floyd the same way again. Now the story has taken another dramatic turn.
In Roger's show at the Wall, no, it was mostly Roger's brainchild, and he's entitled to do what he wishes with it, and I have no objection.
In a rare and emotional moment, Roger Waters spoke about what he believes was at the heart of his hatred toward Gilmour. And it goes way beyond the usual arguments fans have heard for years. This was not framed as a fight over songwriting, credits, or money. What came out touched on personal hurt, unresolved frustration, and emotions that clearly never faded. For fans who spent years hoping for peace between them, this hits hard. This changes how many people may look at the entire feud. Suddenly, this is bigger than music industry drama. It becomes a story about pride, identity, emotional scars, and relationships that never healed. For longtime fans still holding on to reunion dreams, this version of the story is a rough one to hear, because it suggests some damage may simply be too deep to undo. To understand how things became this complicated, you have to go back to when the balance inside Pink Floyd started changing.
You can see this thing on people's faces, this awakening moment.
By the mid-1970s, Roger Waters was no longer just one voice in the group. His influence over the band's direction was growing fast. While the dark side of the moon came from a more shared creative process, that equal dynamic did not stay in place for long. Waters increasingly took charge of concepts, writing, and the overall vision, and that shift changed the energy inside the band. Then came 1979, and The Wall changed everything. This was not just another Pink Floyd album. It was deeply shaped by Roger Waters' personal struggles, ideas, and outlook, which naturally shifted the band's creative balance. David Gilmour was still vital. His guitar remained a huge part of the band's signature sound, but his role seemed less central than before. Even as The Wall became a massive success, the tension behind the scenes only got worse. Success did not bring the band closer. It made the cracks impossible to ignore. By 1983, the final cut pushed that divide even further. Many fans still debate whether it even feels like a true Pink Floyd album because it was so closely tied to Waters' vision. Gilmour did not hide how unhappy he was, saying, "I didn't even want to be on it. It's not a Pink Floyd album, it's Roger's album." That quote says plenty on its own. Feeling sidelined like that left lasting bitterness, and the relationship between them kept getting colder. This was a major shift in how Pink Floyd worked. The creative balance that once made the band so powerful started breaking down as Waters' influence grew stronger and Gilmour's input seemed to matter less. What was once a strong partnership became far more uneven, setting up the conflict that exploded later. Years later, a 2023 interview gave fans a different perspective. Waters shared a surprisingly personal reflection, saying, "I think I hated David at the time because he was everything I wasn't, charismatic, effortless, and likable. Maybe I was just jealous that his guitar could speak emotions when my words always fell short." That admission caught many people off guard because it showed a far more vulnerable side of the feud. Suddenly, the story inside Pink Floyd looked a lot more complicated. Waters had long been seen as the conceptual force behind much of the band's work, but these comments suggested something deeper was happening emotionally. He also said, "I hated him because somehow people saw him as the heart. I was the brain, But we both needed each other, and maybe that's the tragedy. That line lands hard because it frames the conflict as more than creative disagreement. It points to a painful personal divide over identity, recognition, and how each man was viewed by the public. That changes the entire picture for a lot of fans. What once looked like straightforward clashes over music direction may also have involved personal insecurity and emotional frustration. Waters was clearly capable of building ambitious concepts and powerful narratives, but Gilmour brought a different kind of emotional connection that resonated strongly with listeners. People did not just admire the music. They felt deeply attached to the sound and emotion Gilmour helped shape, and that may have added another layer to the tension. And that emotional conflict did not stay private. It appears to have influenced how success itself was viewed inside the group. Waters may have believed his writing and conceptual ideas drove Pink Floyd's rise, but Gilmour's guitar style was undeniably central to the band's sound. That creates a difficult contradiction, needing someone's contribution while also feeling overshadowed by how strongly audiences connect with it. That kind of unresolved tension can grow for years until everything finally breaks apart. And eventually, it did. Waters' frustrations spilled into legal conflict and years of public hostility. After leaving Pink Floyd in 1985, he did not simply move on quietly. He challenged David Gilmour and Nick Mason, continuing under the Pink Floyd name. That move sent a powerful message. To many observers, it looked like far more than a business disagreement over branding. It felt like a battle over ownership, identity, and legacy itself. Waters also made his feelings clear when he said, "They ripped off something that wasn't just mine, but it wasn't entirely theirs either. Pink Floyd was over when I left." That statement landed like a shockwave. It showed how deeply he believed the band's story had effectively ended with his departure. From that point on, the conflict became even more personal, with Gilmour continuing the band's path in a way Waters seemed to view as a direct challenge to what Pink Floyd represented. What made the feud even hotter was that Pink Floyd kept succeeding after Waters left. That seemed to make the bitterness even sharper. Waters publicly criticized Gilmour's playing, once calling it beautiful but emotionless. By that point, this was far more than a band disagreement. It had become a long-running personal clash. Gilmour pushed back too, saying, "Roger, it was his way or the highway." That one quote painted a clear picture of how difficult things had become behind the scenes. The creative chemistry that once defined Pink Floyd had turned into frustration and conflict. Even the 2005 Live 8 reunion did not fix things. Fans saw hope, but Waters later admitted, "Playing together again was lovely for the fans, but it was very uncomfortable." What looked like peace was clearly not the full story. The conflict later spilled into public disputes beyond the music. In 2020, Waters accused Gilmour of blocking him from Pink Floyd's website, saying, "David thinks he owns it all." Then in 2023, Polly Sampson publicly criticized Waters, with Gilmour backing her statement, turning the feud into an even more personal public battle. What makes Waters' emotional comments hit so hard is the sense of what may have been lost along the way. If his own reflections are taken at face value, this conflict cost far more than musical collaboration. It damaged trust, relationships, public perception, and any realistic path toward peace. That leaves a haunting question for fans. What might Pink Floyd have created if those emotions had never become so destructive? And fans absolutely think about that. Year after year, opportunities for closure seemed to slip away. When Richard Wright passed in 2008, many saw it as a painful reminder that time does not wait for reconciliation. Even that moment did not bring lasting unity between Waters and Gilmour. In the end, the story of Pink Floyd is not just one of groundbreaking music. It is also a story of conflict, fractured relationships, and a partnership that helped shape history while falling apart at the same time. What makes this especially difficult for longtime fans is how much it changes the story they believed for years. Many held on to the idea that enough time might soften the bitterness and eventually bring some kind of peace. But the deeper emotional admissions suggest the divide may have gone far beyond normal creative disagreement. If jealousy, resentment, and identity struggles truly played a central role, it helps explain why repeated hopes for reunion never fully became reality, even when moments like Live 8 briefly gave people hope. When Waters said, "We both needed each other," and maybe that's the tragedy, that line lands hard because it captures the contradiction at the heart of everything. Two people who created extraordinary work together also carried emotional conflict that may have made long-term peace impossible. For fans, that realization stings badly because some of Pink Floyd's most unforgettable music came from that exact creative tension. Songs like Comfortably Numb did not emerge in a vacuum. They came from that complicated push and pull between Waters' ideas and Gilmour's musical voice. Knowing there may have been genuine resentment behind some of that collaboration changes how many people hear those songs now. It adds emotional weight, complexity, and a far less comfortable layer to the legacy. What once sounded like pure artistic brilliance may also reflect a partnership cracking under enormous pressure. Waters' comments put a spotlight on the real human cost behind all that success. Being part of something as massive as Pink Floyd came with enormous pressure, and over time that pressure seems to have damaged a partnership that once created unforgettable music. What could have been decades more albums, performances, and legendary moments slowly slipped away because the relationship could not hold together. Now, with both Roger Waters and David Gilmour in their 70s, the chances of any true reconciliation feel smaller than ever. Maybe if this level of honesty had happened years earlier, the story might have looked very different. But now, for many fans, it mostly explains why the reunion they always hoped for may never happen. And that may be the hardest part of all. This was not just a simple disagreement between musicians. It became a deep, personal divide that helped break apart one of the greatest creative partnerships in music history. But what do you think? Was Pink Floyd's breakup really driven by personal jealousy and emotional wounds, or was it always about creative control from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your take. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive into music's biggest stories. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.